Happy Canada Day. It's Canada Day. Yay for us. Um, so here we are. It's a Tuesday, and I'm doing a live from outside on my balcony. It's a beautiful day to be outside, even though it's super hot, and we're going to be getting thunderstorms from what I hear. But for now, it's okay. My name is Rochelle, and I have a vlog, website, and podcast called Feeding a Crowd. I love it. Hi, La Flèche. Thank you for making it. I know it was impromptu, but there you go. My day was like that, and I'm happy to be off today and being able to do this with you. So, Feeding a Crowd is on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and here on YouTube. And I'm super happy to be here. I also have a store called a thrift store called Lucky Finds Thrift Shop, which I sell a lot of good thrift finds at a very reasonable price, and I do have some new items there. So feel free to go and check that when you want to browse around. And the reason today I wanted to come and see you guys is because it is the season for marinades. There is no two ways about it. It's what we do when meat is so expensive, right? Um, which is why mastering marinades is top of mind when you cannot buy the filet mignon of choice, right? So, a short history on marinades is that it comes from the Latin word marinus, meaning of the sea. Originally, marinades were used to preserve food, especially fish, in saltwater brine. Over time, the concept evolved from preservation to flavor enhancement, with cultures across the globe adding spices, acids, and oils to tenderize and boost flavor. So, in Asia, soy and rice wine were the early marinade components, and or in the Middle East and Mediterranean, yogurt and vinegar were key. Indigenous and colonial North Americans used beer, buttermilk, and local herbs. So, how do marinades work? Marinades improve meat in three main ways, right? They tenderize, they flavor, and they moisten. So, what tenderizes them is the acids, like vinegar, lemon, and buttermilk. I love buttermilk. Buttermilk is one of my favorites to use. And enzymes like papaya, pineapple help break down muscle fiber and tougher cuts of meat. And we're talking about tougher cuts of meat when you can't buy the too expensive cuts of meat. Um, so what flavors them is usually the salt, the herbs, the spices, the aromatics, right? Um, that we use for them. Um, and then moisture retention. What we never think about that, but what creates a moisture retention is the oils and dairy. It helps the meat stay super juicy while cooking, especially on the grill or barbecue. So one little tip is that marinades don't usually go too deep into the thick cuts. Their power is surface level. Time helps, but too long, and I know this for a fact, well, it might give you mushy meat, especially when it comes to beef. So basically, I use three kinds of marinades, okay? Three types. And the first one is buttermilk, which is my favorite because the milk lactic acid tenderizes without breaking down the texture too much. It's best for chicken. That's what they use with fried chicken, right? Turkey and pork chops. It's my go to. The benefits, it adds tang, it keeps the meat moist, and it promotes browning, which I did not know. I love that I didn't know that. Um, the acidic marinade, based on vinegar, citrus, and wine, um, they break down the proteins and connective tissue. So it's best for beef, especially the cheaper cuts, lamb, pork, and game meats. Okay, so that's what you'd want to use a vinegar or citrus or wine based marinade. You use with herbs, garlic, mustard. I love my marinades, most always have mustard, olive oil for balance. But be careful, too much time, and you end up with tough or mushy meat, which has happened to me. It's weird. So the beer-based marinades, which is super fun, and that's the one I use with pork. To me, it's beer and maple syrup with mustard. So beer is slightly acidic and contains enzymes that can help tenderize. It's best for brisket, ribs, sausage, flank, or skirt steak. So now we know, right? It adds a malty, hoppy depth, and it works well with both spices and barbecue. It's always better to use the darker beers for richer meats and lighter beers for poultry. Doesn't that make sense? So, oil based marinades, which is what you do basically when you toss your olive oil, lemon juice, and herbs and garlic, in your chicken an hour before cooking. Okay, that's what we're talking about. Oil carries fat soluble flavors deep into the surface of the meat and helps protect during cooking. Best for grilled vegetables, chicken, pork, and seafood. Combine vinegar, lemon juice, soy sauce, or mustard. That's what you would put in with your oil. So, um, the reason I used to learn marinades a long time ago is that with so many kids, I could not buy expensive anything. And tender meat makes kids want to eat it no matter what. If it's tender, the kids will eat it. If it's juicy, even better. So it's good for flank, blade, skirt, eye around, and it's good on chicken, pork cuts, right? So marinate in the morning, grill at night. If it's pork, you can easily leave it overnight depending what you're using. It's a bit like brine. Brine, you can brine longer, you just use a bit less salt. Okay. So don't forget, so the ones I use the most are the one using buttermilk, the one using olive oil, the one that I use really quickly, and the one that I use beer, right? um Depending. Those are my three favorite. And I don't have, I put all my recipes in there. The ones I have, the brine, it works differently, but it works so great for pork that I use it a lot, also for my turkey. And probably I would also use it for big chickens. Don't forget, people, small tip: the chickens that we buy in the store are already brine. They don't say that they're brine, but they're basically shoved with salty water. And that's why they cook faster and they're so tender. When you grow your own chickens, take my word for it, they're not brined. And when people would get my chickens, they'd say, it takes 3 hours for your chicken to cook. Well, guess what? It doesn't come from the store and it hasn't been brined at all. They plump up the chicken in the store with water and salt. You buy a real chicken, it hasn't been plumped, baby. So brining works really well with homegrown meats. Okay? That makes sense? Am I making sense, Eflesh? If you're bored, let me know. I'll change channels. So there we go. So moving on. I don't know why I think I'm funny. I know I'm probably not funny. Um, so because I don't have a buttermilk recipe on my website, I'm going to give you the ingredients I usually put in mine. This week, I'm going to try to do it. Is it? I know it's very noisy here, but it's so fun being outside in the summer. It was hard for me to stay inside today. So I never use a recipe with buttermilk. Basically, I pour buttermilk, I add garlic, smoked paprika, onion powder. I will use lots of cloves and salt and pepper, Dijon mustard. I usually use something sweet, but not always. If it's a Greekish kind, I won't put sweet in it. If I'm like browning pork or something, but else I'll put a bit of brown sugar, maple syrup, and you just add a teeny bit of olive oil, and you can add zest of lemon, and then the herbs, whatever herbs or not that you want: thyme, rosemary, sage. Oh, sage, yes. So but I will try to work on that recipe this week and post it, okay, for you. That and my strawberry bars recipe. But we should all have buttermilk in our houses. It's a staple, okay? And it's just too useful for everything. It's like when I make cheese, you always get, well, it's like buttermilk, right? The whey, and whey acts like buttermilk. Marinating your meat in whey is awesome, and whey is super good for us too. So don't throw out whey and use a lot of buttermilk. Always have buttermilk on hand. If you don't have buttermilk, what the other thing I use? Yogurt. You just use yogurt with a bit of water. Add the olive oil. Just do like yogurt on anything Greek is amazing, on any marinating yogurt food. So yeah, if you don't have buttermilk, use Greek yogurt, and it's just a winner, you know. And the marinades you last a while, and you can make a big bunch and just use what you want. You can also, once you made it a few times, you actually don't need the recipe, and you get to know what you like in yours. Okay, but start with the recipe, then get comfortable with it, and then start changing sugars. You can use maple sugar, you can use white sugar, you can use um, a balsamic vinegar to add the sweetness. You can use pomegranate molasses for sweetness. But and you can add same thing when it comes to this acid, right? You can use lemon juice, you can use wine, you can use rice vinegar. It just you just need a fatty solution, you need acid solution, and then a sometimes a sweet portion to it. Lots of herbs and lemon zest. You just, what feels good in your mouth, what will feel good with supper tonight, you know. And you play with that, and you take this cheaper cut of meat and you make it beautiful. Like, it's just like, when I brine, I do my pork, and that recipe I have to make someday because it's all in my head, even though I've been sharing it a little bit. It's just like when I marinate the pork in the beer and maple syrup with the Dijon mustard or grainy mustard. It's the best marinade in the world. The thing with beer marinades, you don't have to worry about leaving it longer. So you can make it the day ahead, and it's beautiful. So that's one thing I like about beer marinades, that you don't worry about how long you leave it. Anything with acid, I would be careful how long it's left in the marinade. And so, what are you having for supper? I was supposed to go out, and the restaurant we were going to is closed, and so everyone canceled. So I have to make supper tonight, which I wasn't going to do. I wanted to go out tonight. Guess who's not going out tonight? That's okay. I had supper with my sons yesterday, and it was fun not making supper. I think I'll thaw out some shrimp and make myself something shrimpy. Yeah, because I buy the big bags of shrimp from Costco, and then I divide them, and then when I want some, I just take out, 6 or 7 or 8 and have supper with that. But yeah, it sucks when you planned on not being home and now I'm home. But on the bright side, I could do a live with you. Um, so let me look if I have any more thoughts on this. And chicken, when you use a marinade, you do about 6 to 12 hours. Pork chops at least 4 to 8. Of course, you can also marinate tofu, which I didn't even think about. But of course you could do. Could you marinate tempeh? I don't know. And I wouldn't use the Greek marinade on beef. I don't think so, but I'm sure some cultures do. But I've never tried it. If you try it, let me know. Um, and don't forget, if you don't have a long time to marinate, cover it well and keep it on the counter for the last half hour. Because then when you cook the meat, you're not trying to cook cold meat inside, and it takes not as long. And we do that with steak. When it comes to poultry, you do you. You do you. I mean, first of all, the chicken we always cook thoroughly anyways, so I don't think half an hour on your counter will matter that much. But you do you, because I'm not going to be responsible for anyone leaving their chicken out all day and whatever. I don't do that, but I do remove it 20, 30 minutes ahead when I know I'm about to cook it, because I find that it doesn't dry out as much and you get a better, even cook. Okay. And of course, a steak, you take out an hour. Ah! Okay. You do you. You do not me, because I'm weird. Ask my daughter Rosie. She disagrees with everything I say. Here's to Rosie. Um, what else? What else about marinades? Any questions? Any questions for me? Okay, I need to stop doing that. Right? Right? Um, I think I'm all out of questions. And the thing about a vlog is you can't really have dead air. Like, well, anyone, right? You're not supposed to like not be talking. And I'm thinking of putting these in a podcast so you wouldn't see me, but you could listen to me. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think I'm going to do. Maybe I could make ceviche with my shrimp. That would be so delicious. I have everything for ceviche, and I have avocado, and I have pita chips, and I have strawberries, and I have gray shallots. I think I'm making ceviche tonight. Who knew? I don't have a recipe. Like everything else, I just wing it. So there you go. I think it's going to be ceviche tonight, Aflesh, for me. Anyways, thanks for coming on. Thanks for cheering me on. Because I don't want to do several topics, I'm just going to cut this now. What I will be doing is repeating this topic, hopefully tomorrow in French or Friday, because Friday I'm not working since I'm working Saturday and Sunday in Val David. All right, guys. So you take care. Have fun. Make supper tonight or don't. Just buy veggies and throw them on a grill and have that for supper on bread. Then mush it out. I don't know. Just make a salad of grilled something and have fresh bread with that. We don't have to always think of a big meal. Sometimes you just eat. All right, guys. Love you. Like, like me and subscribe, please. Oh my God. I would love to see you this Saturday. All right. I'll see you on Saturday then. Bye bye.